Welcome to the show, which I call it Prayers, the poem. See, everything I should actually say, I should not say the poem, the prayers, or prayers, the poem. That's how I'm calling today. Okay? Yesterday I called it one way, today I'm calling it another way, tomorrow I'll be calling it in a totally different way. So, everybody who is right now on, I don't know where it is. So, I'm supposed to put this in Facebook. I totally forgot about that. Okay, I'm going to actually do that too. Very quickly, I need to actually put this in Facebook. So, let me take you far away. See, I already started recording. See, when you need this to the best of the ability, so you are going to call WP admin, poetry show. Let me see. What is that? Oh, you're sending me messages right now. I'm in a live show right now. You're asking, you're giving me. No, that's not your message actually. Holy day. I am live on everything. So now I just posted the link on Facebook too. So let them, if somebody is coming from there, let them come from there. If somebody is not coming from there, then let them not come from there. If somebody is really, commented on old Milwaukee, whatever. This one, let me actually close all this, and I'm going to come back to Ivylog. Today morning I had a quick talk with the owner of the Ivylog show, Ivylog site, and he told me about the technical things he's working on. He's going to eventually completely remove the Adobe thing. I need to learn from him how he does things. He's an amazing guy, Creamy, Esteban Creamy. His name is Creamy or Creme or something like that. Yeah, very nice guy. I met him on this thing, and I'm live on his show too. His site too. As you know, I'm recording it in my website. This show is about the poem, the prayers. I'm going to may have to read this poem for people to know what is it mean by prayers. I'm going to do this. I'm going to read the poem, and then I'm going to come back. It's all back to front right now. Okay, so I'm going to read the poem, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to actually give a little bit of a thing, because some people actually have a feeling that I'm dragging the thing all the way to the end. Some people really want to deal with me and my poetry, not deal with my poetry, not me. That's what I meant. Some people want to deal with me, not my poetry. Some people want to deal with both of them, and those people are extinct. So, how are you guys doing in this weekend? I was having a fantastic time earlier today. I was at this coffee shop, and it was one of the most amazing things. I went to the coffee shop. There were like a lot of middle-aged people. When I say middle-aged, okay, I say as middle. When I say middle, is between 20 and 30. They are middle. Those are the people, who are not available in the marriage market or romantic market or dating market, things like that. But they are all out there. They are all out there, even though it was not that very warm. It was cold. I had a tea from there. Then I took a walk out because it's getting very busy there. So I walked and I went to the lakeside, and when I went reached the lakeside, it was like about 40 to 41 degrees in temperature, but with wind chill, it feels like about 35 degrees. I took a fantastic walk, and that walk was amazing. I love that because usually I go for about 35 to 40 minutes. That's where I go. This is like easily 50 to 60 minutes. Easily, I think it went beyond 1 hour because in between I took a little break to take a picture. So it was fantastic. Each and every step I put forward, okay, I actually get a rhythm of a thought. So there are thoughts that are in my mind, and today I was actually thinking about a specific person. She's the little boss. So I was at Boston store, meeting many of the associates there, who are very friendly to me. Going and when I look at them, I understand, they don't want any sympathy, they don't want any sentiments. Okay, they want to move on to the next job because the store is completely gone bankrupt and they are let go. They have to find another job. So I know they don't want my sympathy or sentiments or my shoulder to cry on because they are not crying. They are really good people. Then there are weirdos there, like in every place. There are weirdos there. There are big time assholes there. They are all there. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to actually get into the poem right now. I'm just giving you a brief idea. But during all this time, there is this prayer deep inside of me, and that prayer is for the well-being of everyone. I'm not singling out one group or the other group because each and every person has something good in them. They go through good times and bad times. And these good times and bad times are defined by many factors that we actually see around us. And those factors involve some are cultural, some are social, some are very much into traditions, some are very religious. When you put all these things together and then you say this is a bad time for me, you just decided that you are having a bad time because things were not happening in the way you wanted to happen. This is where the poem, what I'm saying has got nothing to do with this poem. But I'm saying that is a prayer, I always have. Now I'm actually bringing down this prayer. This poem is remembered, as a fantastic expression I had towards a girl, and there are times when a person loves. So what really happens when a person loves? When the very first time he or she falls in love, what happens? There are a set of things that person does. That is his character. It has got nothing to do with culture. It has got nothing to do with traditions. It has got nothing to do with his religious belief. But when you look at each and every thing, you break it as one shot. You may not look at to have any connection to this. It is just a romantic expression of that person to another person. Usually, it is a man to a woman. Usually, it starts like that, man to a woman. These days, I have seen a woman going the other way and expressing the same thing to men because men are really busy too, and women are more outside and rather than sitting inside or more outgoing. That doesn't necessarily mean they are bad. At the same time, there are love between a man and a woman and a woman. I'm not involved in any of those kind of things, but said all that, I need to check, if the audience anywhere. Oh yeah, those guys are there. I will have nobody, so let's leave it at that. So I'm going to here. So what I'm saying is these prayers are done to achieve some sort of a connection between people. I think I completely lost the thought. That completely lost the train of thoughts, which I had, and I have no idea what I was thinking. No, I will read the poem. Let me read the poem and come back to what I was saying. Okay, here we go. uh, the poem is called Prayers. Feelings known in a lifetime spent on just one moment filled with love. Oh, that moment only in dreams I spend as rusted mind rusted over lazy migraines. Gather me, oh evening, gather me from the wrath that scattered me. Wrath morning and noon given, the frozen chill peppers in ice cream cones given. Through the jungle like a hungry wolf ran, thorns and stones pierced all over, hunger to be still the hunger to be the love of those eyes. Oh, no pain, no hurdles over ever mattered over that. Only in love to you I approached, though blood for many veins this wolf drank. Ah, what benefits you may have if given a skeleton of love with no meat and blood. For all that a myth I hunt, forgiveness a myth as headless ghosts wander. With my bow and arrow, that ghost I will hunt. Arrows pierced, dipped in blood, and through air fired. Air filled with verses of love chanted, changed in meditation of prayers. Prayers meant only for you and your love. I still haven't got the thought, train of thoughts back. Hopefully, maybe next show I will go a little more carefully without wandering. In a way, when I talked about, Boston Store and the other things and all those things, in a way, well, everything is getting connected to a point. There is a connection to everything. That connection is me. Okay? Whether I work in my regular job or my part-time job. The part-time job, it was not even part-time, it is a temporary job. Evenings and weekends I just wanted to spend some time instead of just sitting at home, and I met very nice people during that time, and that was the idea, meeting real people, because my work was pretty much over the phone and video conferencing, things like that, and I don't really meet people in real, so I wanted to meet people in real. That's how it all started, and get a little more humility. But eventually it ended in a most bizarre scenario where I called people assholes and walked out of the job. Well, when people are assholes, I will call them assholes. That was the idea. I'm not going to prolong this show for too long, because it is basically it was done for Esteban Creme when he actually talked to me. It was a nice little chat with him. He wanted me to continue doing shows on iVlog, and I truly appreciate that. On the other hand, I wanted to do a show just to show how do I actually bring this in? Just to show that I am going to do a show, no matter what. No matter what is thrown at me, I have to be me. I don't have to be mean, but I have to be me. That is a fundamental idea about this whole thing. The identity people really wanted me to have is something I'm not going to take. I wanted to make my own identity, and that identity may be accepted by 0 people, or maybe 1 person or 2 person, somebody who really loves me as who I am. Even if it is only 1 person in this era, I will take that. Even if there is nobody in this era to accept me as who I am, I don't really care. I actually put it all forward in front of people and say, okay, take this whole thing as who I am. And I'm going to actually bring out all these Kindle versions and other things, which I said, okay, I'm going to bring Kindle versions. The advantage of using a Kindle version or an electronic version of my books and my works, there are some of them are not going to be 100% poetry. They are like an extract of my mind into verse format. So I said verse format. I'm not saying my verses are not really structured. I don't write structured verses. I write in free verse. So this is an expression in that. So it's not 100% poetry. There are some of the things I write are pretty much close to words. What do I say? Prose or verse poetry, prose poetry, things like that. It is very close to that. Because I took all the rhythms out, I took the rhymes out, doesn't alliterate much. All these things are taken out to make it as free as possible. Reason, it should be accessible to everyone. A person who is, there are people who don't like, rhyming verse. I myself personally is not a big fan of rhyming verse. Except when I'm actually reading a holy book or something like that, where there are rhymes that looks beautiful. But I'm not saying rhyme is bad. There are some rhymes that are very beautiful, especially in those contexts. It is advisable. Otherwise, I don't use that. These guys are really going upside down and crazy. Okay, this is something which I need. I think you guys just saw what I did. Oh my god. 1 second. During a recording, these kind of things happens. Okay. 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 These days they have something called iPhone 10, and this is a face recognizing software in it. But there are times it doesn't recognize anything. So how you identify that a person has an iPhone 10. You'll take the phone when it rings, and you start the phone, and when he does that, we know, okay, that dude have iPhone 10. Because this thing is not a perfect thing. Not even Apple was able to make it something perfect. So that is another thing I'm going to come back to. Nothing is perfect. You see, look at me. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not. You see, many people think that I'm perfect. I have big belly. No, I don't know whether you can see. See, when I'm sitting like this, you won't be able to see my big belly. I am, I weigh 230. Last time I checked my weight, it was like 234. Something going into my mouth. Well, something was already in my mouth. 234.8 pounds. From 246, it is down to that much. It was down to about 232. Went up a couple of pounds. In 2 days, I didn't really do anything. Only thing I didn't do was I didn't go for a walk. And instead of walking, I went and ate a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. 2 pounds difference. I don't know what. Maybe my scale is wrong. Well, maybe even if I'm going to take it something in between, probably 233 pounds. Or maybe I'm going to say something nasty. After the Philly cheesesteak sandwich, I may be filled with shit. I probably am filled with shit, man. This poem, these poems were written, these kind of poems. It was the Mukushla poems. These were all Mukushla poems. I may have given different explanations, but the ultimate thing was all Mukushla. Mukushla was a girl I really liked. Unfortunately, our relationship never happened. Honestly, I have to accept it now. Even Mukushla may sometime come and watch these videos and share herself. I really liked her. I really liked the girl, and she was beautiful. She was talented and amazing. But I don't know. I was really not knowing the girl in detail much. The wrong I did was I never even tried to know her, her priorities, things like that. And even when I came to know about something about her, those things I came to know about her, I didn't like at all. So probably even if I tried to have a realistic relationship with her, in all probability we might not have even connected properly, but otherwise at a different level through online at a spiritual level we were very good, we had a good connection. But in reality, probably even if I was of same age, everything mattered, say even everything was perfectly connected, perfectly how do I say, perfectly in place, in the same in reality we would not have even talked for more than maybe an hour from what I know about her right now. Probably all that I know are maybe wrong too. I don't know. I'm not going to even look for it. She has her own life. I have my own life. Okay. So, still, some people actually said, "Okay, we never seen your belly." I'm not going to stand up and show my belly. Okay. Probably I will stand up when the belly is gone. I'm working out, and I'm even planning to work out during the month of fasting so that I can lose weight fast. But the idea is not to get in shape or look like your Tom Cruise or Hulk, or Hulk is big. I mean Thor or something like that. No, that's not the idea. Idea is to get healthy. So I am in the process of getting back into my eat fast, live longer routine. So I'm actually touching many subjects here, at the same time. Hopefully people understand that I'm doing shows, regular shows, live shows, and hopefully I will come back and do a show later tomorrow with the poem which I posted. What is the poem I posted? Now I don't even know what poem I posted. After prayers, I posted a poem called My Darling. I'm going to give you a brief idea about the My Darling. Like I said, the line of thought came back. I didn't lose it. See, I was actually talking about something in the line of, say, when I actually wrote the prayers. It is a Mukushla poem. When a person loves, this is where I am going to come back to. When a person first loves a person, usually it starts when you are like in the early teen. I wrote in my blog, when the first girl I liked was in a nearby school, from the school I was actually studying. I liked the girl, but eventually she turned hostile. This is where I'm actually going to. But then, once that relationship broke out, relationship entered totally off. When you are in school, you may move from multiple relationships. Every girl you see is as pretty as possible. You think that that's your girl. That's the first thing that goes through every NAA guy's romantic life. And you may even think that I'm in romance with this girl. I'm in romance with that girl. I'm in romance with the other girl. I'm in romance with my teacher. All these things happens. All these things are done. And then you come back. And eventually decide, oh, okay, this is not my kind of girl, because I cannot connect to her at this level. Then I cannot connect with the other person. Eventually, I have to find compromises, a lot of compromises, adjustments in your behavior or in your character. All these things are going to come down to one point. And the problem is, you like a girl, and that liking between you two may not really 100% work because of external, internal, and social, ethical, religious circumstances. It may not really work. So then what happens? You take all these things and mold it and remold it to another relationship. You go and with another person, and another girl. It happened. I'm 48 years old. I am going to be. I'm running 49. That's what I can say. In this time, it happened multiple times, and in this multiple times, I've taken all these things from one place to another place to another place to another place. Okay, I think you understood what my point really is. So these poems was part of the last one, and I'm actually moving the poems out from Facebook to lonelypoet.com, and I even those things were private, and I made it public. About 200 posts from Zanga.com. If you go to lonelypoet.com, you can see there are at least 200 posts you can read. You can read 200 posts from Zanga.com. Yesterday I made it public so that a person, I'm actually letting a person know that this is the last of certain years that happened. After the other girl, what are things I was actually writing off. The act was actually write somebody off your mind, but it's not going to be 100% gone. You still have the echoes of other feelings that is inside of you. Coming back to things that are behind you, and then you come and take it to another person, and then to another person. Like I said, this is where I came to a point at the current connection, a current relationship. I'm not going to give a lot of details about it, but what I did was a deliberate, and this is where it becomes a little stressful, and I kind of needed to pull myself back into the shell. Reason is, I understood, okay, I have done this multiple times. I've taken from if you from getting a feeling of the girl through a specific music, getting a feeling of girl by expressing things in a specific way, buying a flower, buying gifts. Generally gifts need to be given, otherwise it will be a problem. You can get your ass kicked. You have to buy gifts, but what kind of gifts you buy. Your act of the moment you like a girl, immediately go and talk to her, take her to a coffee. This is called courting, and that courting should be there, but how I can change it. So I took like 3 steps back when it came to this girl, saying, okay, I don't want to do all the things I have done in the past that made people hostile. So this is a behavioral change that I'm doing at the age of 48. So there is a lot of pressure and a lot of tests that I need to. It's a lot of trial and error. So I try this trial and error on other girls. Usually, previously, that's what I used to do. I cut that out. I said, I'm focused on this one girl. That's it. It took me to a realization. That's what I should say. It took me to a realization that I relinquished all the past connections, all the past things as past. And this particular one, I'm actually not doing a fresh start. This is where you should be careful about. The next poem, which I'm going to post tomorrow, not post, it's already in lonelypoet.com. If you go there, you can see My Darling. That's the name of the poem. This is what it comes to. Even though that poem was taken from a past, this blast from the past that came up, from 2014 till now, that is a blast from the past. I can say 2014, maybe. I think it was August, September time. Yeah, I think it was August or late August, early September time, when I actually met the girl very first time. That blast from the past, when I'm actually connecting to her, I want everything gone. But these poems which I was abandoning, that's it. Even though I use the word abandoning, that means, okay, I'm abandoning a lot of these poems out as Mukushta poems or Adina poems, or any other girl. I actually say Anastasia, Tanya. There were like 3 Tanyas. There is 2 Anastasia, Rihanna, Sasha. There are different kind of poems. Original poem was not written during Mukushla time. My Darling was not written as a Mukushla poem. My Darling was written as I'm looking at a girl, and I'm going to confess, this girl who was actually I'm looking at, I hope it won't affect anything bad to another person. I'm not going to mention his name here, but his name was mentioned in the blog. We both were looking at this girl, and this girl is an amazingly. It's not her beauty. She got an appealing girl. She got an appeal from her eyes. She got an appeal from her face, and she got a terrific appeal from her body. If you look at her, totally naked, you may think that she is not an appealing person. She may not be even in the best shape or anything. But you look at her totally, you may not even see any of your nakedness. Nothing. You will see a person. That's what we were seeing at that time. And I explained to that guy at that time, saying that, okay, look at this girl. Here the thing is, if you look at her separately, you take her, and even if you clothe her and look at her, she may not be in the best shape. Described by many guys. But the thing is, the good of that person inside of her, when you come that, when she was expressing that part, she's taking us into a different level where we all are impressed and we all are inspired at the same time. So she's inspiring artists who are painting, she's inspiring musicians who are actually writing music, she's inspiring poets like me who are writing poetry. This is what she was doing at that time. There was a lot of weird things that were happening around her and beyond her. All of a sudden she just disappeared. This poem was written to actually give it to her on a specific day. And on that day what really happened was, she was coming and I was actually logging in. I'm hearing, this thing is by this guy, who's my friend. And I was like, what happened, buddy? He's like, she's not there. Afterwards, she never showed up there. We don't know where she is. She just disappeared. That's where I'm coming down to. This is where the line of thought break happened. So that's where I thought, okay, this is not written for a person with whom I'm romantically involved. This is written for a person. In the name of the poem, I made it to My Darling because I wanted to know. I don't want to call her name. Her name was told in one of the names I just mentioned a little while back. You can rewind it and look. But she left, and then this poem, I took it and put it as My Darling, and I put it into, during the Mukushla time, I published it. I think it is there in the Scent of Spring, the book Scent of Spring, or it is in the Flame of Frost. I don't know which one of these books it is there. Flames from Frost is going to come, very soon. So the very act, why I took that poem, I was abandoning many of the poems, saying that this is a Mukushla poem, even though I'm not removing those poems from everything. But those cannot be brought here. But this one is before all that, and this one has no connection to any romantic feeling to a specific person, even though it is very romantic. I'm calling somebody my darling. And I said, okay, who can I call my darling now? And there is only one darling. So that came to a realization that there is nothing beyond this point. When it comes to romance, I mentioned this even in previous shows and other times, that there is nothing beyond this point. That means this is it. It is not ending all that thing and starting fresh. I am ending all that. I am taking all that thing that was there in the past, putting it behind, and then doing something very fresh. Once only I will try this. I will try to have a relationship. If this relationship doesn't work out, yeah, I am 48 years old. I can live for another 480 more years like this. That's what I'm going to choose, because that girl, I mentioned something before which I should not have. She is worth it. She got a heart of gold. Probably she herself don't understand that heart perfectly. That's what she, even whether intentionally or unintentionally, she had shown me. So I have to say, I will not be able to say I love that girl right now, because I don't know, like I said about Mukushla, I don't know a lot about that girl or this girl. There is a lot more I need to learn before I can say I love the girl. But that's what I told in one of my previous shows, which is there in lollipop.org, that there are things I may have to make adjustments, and I am ready to make adjustments, and that is one of the part of the change. What all things you adjust, what all things you compromise to when you are in a relationship. I was not ready to compromise. I was not ready to make adjustments in relationships previously. That is one of the wrong that we had. I wrote in my latest blog, if you look into poetrybox.us, that is where all the blogs are. You can clearly see the latest blog clearly says, there's a life analyst that looked back and looked at each and every relationship, each and every major events, which are major events and minor events, which I can remember saying, oh, this is not my major event, but this event got a connection to a major event, but it's a minor event. But we looked at all that and see, okay, what are the shortfalls that a person can have? And those shortfalls, where are we going wrong? It's not like every shortfall is taken and tried to correct. You cannot. That's why I'm saying I'm not a perfect person. But there are pattern events that comes up. When something happens, you have a specific pattern of doing things. Don't do it. You need to break that pattern and you need to do something different. And that different is where things are right now, where I'm actually saying, okay, I'm going to turn this around. If I'm going to take a 180-degree turn, I mentioned this before too, when you take a 180-degree turn, if you are the only one who is turning, then it is okay. But there is a problem. There are a lot of things attached to you. And those attachments are going to move too. And when those attachments move, you have a problem. Do you understand? Those attachments can come and bite you in your ass. Because you moved. They are moving along. They are supposed to be in a specific spot. And you are taking it along. So you are responsible for that from that point onward, the moment you make that change. So you better know what all things are going to move before you make a move. That's where things are right now. That's why there is to a great extent, I hope that girl really watches this show. Watches this show. This is going into this thing. I hope everything is there. Yeah, everything is 35, 45 is what I was saying, 35 minutes. Okay. I hope that girl and there are people who really want to learn me. They are going to watch this video. What I can say is, okay, there are a lot of things which I don't really do. I'm trying to do those. There are a lot of things I used to do which I am stopping to do and then backing off. And so initially I may have to unplug from everything and come to a standstill. And once that standstill is perfect, then I can go back to it and say, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm not going to do. It all sounds very crazy, isn't it? But this is life. This is how you live life. That's where I actually said, this point of my life is something which is going to be memorable. That's why I try to write a blog every day, try to bring a poem and explain those poems, and try to do a video log of it. So that, even if maybe 20 years down or even 200 years down, if somebody is going to pick up this and say, okay, what really happened in this guy's life? At that time, they can actually come back and say, oh, okay, it sounds absolutely insane at that point, but it will make a lot of sense at this point. It is making a lot of sense at this point of time. And maybe 500 years later, if somebody can really watch this and understand what was the context of thinking, what was the way of thinking. I would love to see videos of say William Shakespeare, or video logs of Shakespeare or Thomas Hardy or William Wordsworth, and of course John Keats, one of the most amazing writers I know. I'm not a person, no, I mean I have read, and W.B. Yeats, What an Imagination. If those guys add some sort of video log like this, and if I can actually tap into it, it can enhance my imagination. Those people may get inspired by that. People who are coming maybe 500 years, I may be a nobody right now, and I may not have anything, but the thing is what I'm actually living as poetry and things may make sense to a different generation than the current generation. Because when William Shakespeare was writing poetry, he was known only to the English-speaking world. Right now, even though information and things have spread wide and wide and wide all over the world, he was liked by a lot of other people. People who hardly speak English, they take Shakespearean poetry, even though it is very tough, they still, in their toughness, read and understand and get inspired. And they do their own work. And that's what, get everyone moving. When when somebody takes Rumi's poetry. Jalaluddin Rumi is a Sufi poet, lived in Turkey. He's originally from Iran. He's known to Muslims, non-Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Jews, atheists. They are all inspired by Rumi. If you go online, on Facebook or Twitter or anywhere, Rumi's quotes are always there. There is a Rumi quote out there for almost every occasion. When you look at it, So why? And he wrote in Turkish language, and he wrote in Persian. I think he wrote everything in Turkish language, and it was translation. You are reading his translation. You are not even reading the original of it. Okay, but people get inspired by it. During the time of Rumi, Turkish language is spoken by Turkish people. Nobody was even translating it. People who went there and sat with him and learned from him, that's the only learning people had. But how is it possible that generations later, hundreds of years later, people are reading his poetry? So that's the power of poetry. That's the power of pure expression. So be honest to yourself. Be expressive or by yourself, and instead of keeping all your feelings, you need to record all these things. That's your legacy. I'm not trying to become a legend. I'm not trying to become a famous man. I'm not trying to become a rich man. I'm trying to be an inspiration. You all have a wonderful night.